everybody for joining me for another week. If this is your first week, awesome. I actually left out my intro slide, so I'll just do a quick intro just in case you weren't on any of the last webinars that I've been hosting. My name is Natalie. I run a social media agency. I was a former national team snowboarder. I had to learn how to promote myself through using platforms such as Instagram to get sponsorships and be able to pay for my career and fund all the competitions and things that I was able to go to. And that turned into helping athletes and helping businesses use social media more effectively. So last week was all about strategic thinking around social media and a lot of the mindset, the content, a really big focus on that. And this week is all about Instagram growth and growing your presence. So I'm going to get the slides going here, and I'll just note that we had a really great Q&A last week. I really liked all the questions. It was really informative, I think, all around. So we'll do the same thing at the end of this webinar where we'll have a Q&A. So you can save your questions till then, and then I'll be able to go through and host some of those questions at the end. So I'm going to share my screen here. Perfect. Can see that all right? I think so. All right. Okay, so like I mentioned, this week is all about optimizing your Instagram presence, otherwise known as growing your Instagram, building off the concepts that we learned last week. What we'll be going through is we're going to do an Instagram review. So a couple slides just going over some of the things that we did go over last week in case you haven't, you weren't there last week. And just an FYI, if you go to Parity Now and go to your dashboard, there should be a link to webinars. So if you didn't tune into last week's later today or in the next week or two, you'll be able to go over there and watch last week's if you missed it or if you want to go over anything. We'll go into building an engaged audience, optimizing your content and the timing of that content, when to post, as well as growth strategies. And so that's what we'll be going over today. And let's start off with just reviewing some of the things that we went over before. So last week, we focused a lot on self-awareness when it comes to finding your thing and standing out on social media. How do you actually figure out what to post? And that was something that we covered a lot in last week, and building that strategy so you can consistently get your posts out. We focused on starting with the basics, understanding yourself, understanding the way Instagram works and how you can stand out, and creating a strategy that works for you, keeping the best practices in mind, because consistency is the key for your audience and the algorithm. So finding a strategy that works, that you can implement and isn't going to burn you out. So let's review a little bit about the Instagram algorithm, because that plays a big role into growing your presence and growing your followers on Instagram. So one thing to note is that the algorithm is always changing. It's supposed to be learning as it goes. So it's seeing what content is going out there, how people are engaging with content on the platform, and then constantly evolving and getting smarter. So it is always changing. It is something that we can't nail down and say, okay, this is exactly how you can get 1 million followers on Instagram. It is always evolving and getting smarter and making sure that content is finding the right people. So one thing to keep in mind is the more someone engages with your content, the more that they will see your content. So if people are consistently liking and commenting, sharing, saving your posts, when you make your next post, they're going to be very likely to see more of your content and see it higher up in their feed. So you want to drive that engagement to ensure that those people are still continuing to see your posts. And that's why consistency is very important here. If all of a sudden you drop off the platform and you're gone for a month and they've been engaging and commenting with a lot of other accounts and not yours, chances are those people who are posting more consistently and they're engaging with more consistently will come up higher on their newsfeed and more regularly than your posts will. Now, another thing is the Instagram algorithm rewards content that gets users to spend more time on the platform. So Instagram as a business, and basically all social media platforms as a business, they make money by getting you to spend, a user to spend more time on the platform. That way they can serve ads and different things and sell ads to businesses to run on the platform. So they want to see content that is valuable and getting other people to spend time on the platform. And that's how you can increase your reach on Instagram, is is when Instagram sees that on your post, people are spending time, whether they're engaging, they're sharing the post to get other people to spend more time on the platform, they're saving it so they're coming back to your post, things like that. So valuable content, viral or relatable content, those are things that Instagram is really rewarding, things that are getting engagement, and people are spending time on that content piece. Now, another thing is the Explore page. So the Explore page can help you get found, as well as there's a new homepage. Some people have it. I don't have it right now, but I know some other people who I've seen on their Instagram feed have this, where once they scroll and they've kind of seen all the posts, it starts going into suggested posts. So it actually, right on your main newsfeed, is suggesting people who you don't already follow and showing your content right there. And so that's something that I think Instagram is going to be rolling out further. And so that's another way that the algorithm is getting your posts seen by more people. So the Explore page. So I put a little screenshot of the Explore page here, and you'll notice that Reels is taking a big chunk of the Explore page. And that's something near the end of this presentation, I'm going to actually talk a little bit about Reels. And so we'll get into that. But just important to note here, this is the Explore page, and this is how big Reels is being featured here. Now, how the Explore page works is it shows accounts and content that Instagram thinks you will like based on content similar to what you traditionally engage with. So things that are very similar. If you're always engaging with soccer, it's going to show you more soccer. Now, accounts similar to those that you follow. So for example, a funny example I have here is my dad has been asking me and sending me screenshots of why is on his Explore page, it's all like female athletes. Well, he only follows and engages with my content. He doesn't use Instagram for anything else but keeping tabs on me. So because I post a lot of content with the hashtags female athlete, I engage with other female athletes, my content is around that, he's getting suggested to follow other female athletes and see their content. And so that's something to keep in mind when you are posting and engaging and collaborating with others, is that if you're in that one niche or industry, that's how other people can find you. So making sure that you are knowing that you're sticking to those kind of content categories and engaging with people in those categories. And that's something that we'll touch on a little bit further. It also shows accounts and content based on those that you follow, the people that you follow, who do they follow and engage with, as well as viral content that seems relatable to a more general population. All right, so based on these last couple slides, this is why it's important to think strategically and understand your objectives when it comes to your content and posts. It's also important to know who you are and what makes you you, so that you can think about more strategically how to stand out, how to get on the Explore page, how to collaborate, and who to collaborate with. It's also important to build that depth and try to drive engagement. And this is something that we really focused on in the last webinar last week, is building more depth and getting more engagement. So rather than just getting a quick like, how do we get people to actually comment, engage, save, share, those things? It's also important to collaborate and find ways to win together, because as you see, a lot of the things are based on, okay, how about like, let's show the post from this other female athlete because this person is engaging with a lot of female athlete content. So there's ways that you can use that to your advantage. So let's start off with building an engaged audience. So last week I said, don't post and ghost. Once you make your post, stay on Instagram if you can. And you can even think about your post timing when you're able to do this. Don't make a post right before you're going to the gym and putting your phone away. Make sure that you do a post when you have even 20 or 30 minutes, just to stick around and comment back to people, those first people that are commenting. If there's ways that you can share your post in your story and get that initial comments going, that's going to be huge for getting a quick boost of reach on your post. Initial engagement is important, so you should engage with comments and encourage more comments. If someone is commenting, leave a comment that maybe asks them for a follow-up question if they've left more than like an emoji. Also engage with your audience's content. If you're engaging with people who you follow and their content, they're more likely to go back and also engage on your content. You can also use stories to drive engagement, and we'll go a little bit deeper into that. So Instagram stories. I like this image of the stop posting entire concerts on your story. I'm not about shaming anyone. If you want to post your entire concert on your story and show people who are in quarantine and can't go to concerts what it's like to be living somewhere where you can, I mean, go for it if you think it's of value. But just remember that when you're building depth with your audience, you want to give them something of value, not something that's going to kind of turn them off or feel spammy to them. Using Instagram really specifically to give value and not turn people off and overdo it, especially with your stories, is a good way to keep relevant and keep people checking your stories. Otherwise, if they're constantly skipping all your stories aren't going to show up very high on that top of the feed for them, and they're going to just stop being shown your stories by Instagram. So one way that you can use your stories to add some more depth is to tell an actual story and use it for that purpose of building more depth and context around, say, a post. Say you post something in the gym, maybe it's like a PR lift, and you post the behind the scenes, the fails, the lead up, and then you put your post and say, okay, now click the post for the more info in my write up on this. So it's a way that you can actually tell more of a story behind your post, use more depth and context, and actually drive more engagement to your posts. Also, it allows for interaction. You can ask questions and use polls, and it's very important to use these features that Instagram gives you, such as like the DM button or the music. Those things, Instagram really likes to see that you're using all the features that they have available, especially when they launch new features. And again, is staying active on stories and consistency. Sometimes it may be hard to get new content for a full post, but if you can keep active on your stories, that's also important so that you can keep showing up at the top of someone's feed. So optimizing your content. So in this section, we're going to get a little bit further into insights. Now, last week, we talked specifically about content insights. So the insights that you see when you actually go on your post and look at the insights specifically for the post, where you see, your post reach, how many people reach through hashtags, different functions, how many people went to your profile from your post, how many people commented, liked, saved, or shared, those types of things. Now we're going to get into the full insights that you can see about your account as a whole. And then we're going to try to use this to actually optimize your content and improve and use these insights to make decisions. So first off, we can use the insights to get demographic information on our audience. So in your account insights, you'll be able to go and see percentage of male versus female followers, the age groups per gender, the locations, and the country. So you can actually see as far down as, say 9% of your followers are in New York City, and go and see some of those things. That'll help you as well with knowing what time zones your audience is in. You can use insights to assess your content and continuously improve. So insights to see, okay, what are all my top posts from this year based on the reach they got or the amount of comments they got. See where are you hitting and missing based on the objectives. And then you can use insights to determine what times you should be posting. We're going to get into that. And so I want to show you guys, if you want to actually open up some of your insights right now with me, because we will be going over for the next few slides a couple more specific things. You'll go and click on your profile when you have Instagram open. And then on the top right, when you're on your profile page, I'm on my profile page here, you'll see that like icon with the 3 horizontal bars. What you'll do is you'll click that, and then underneath there'll be insights. You'll click over there, and then you'll see your insights, and it'll say insights, should say last 7 days. Insights actually just a few weeks ago went through a little bit of an update, and yeah, you'll be able to see it there. And now let's get into some of the things that it's going to actually tell you here. Okay, so on your main page of your insights, you should have like an overview section. It'll tell you accounts reached this past week, content interactions, so how many people or how many interactions, likes and comments and things like that have been made on your posts, as well as your followers and like a percentage if it's improved over the past week, or how many you've gained, for example, with followers. It'll also show you the content that you've recently posted and your stories. It also has IGTV and things like that. So specifically for accounts insights, you would go under your overview section and you'll check out your accounts reached section. And once you click under there, you'll see impressions, profile visits, and link clicks, so such as website tabs, and you'll have email button tabs. So those are ways that you can see how many impressions, so how many times your post has actually been served to people on their news feed or on their Explore feed. And then you can also see, okay, how many people are going over to my profile? And then are people from my profile, are they clicking to email me? Are they clicking to tap that link in my website? So these are good stats to know, especially if you're running some sort of promotion, or right now when you guys have your paid post out, you can go and see how many people are tapping to go and view my website and the website I posted. Say it's a parody link in your bio. You'll be able to see all of these things. And now if you go back to your main insights page, you can go under overview and then content interactions. And there you can see your post interactions for the week, story interactions for the week, as well as IGTV interactions. And so that's a good insight as well to give you just a metric on how am I improving week over week. For example, you'll see, okay, in this screenshot I have right here, 480% improvement over the past week. And then you can look at some of those things to see if that means something important to you. Was I posting more? So does it mean maybe I should post more and I'm going to get more interactions? How are my stories? Was I posting more stories? Were my stories more engaging? So now I'm getting more replies or shares on my stories. It will show you that. It'll also go into IGTV and different IGTV, as well as top stories and top posts as you scroll down on that page. So this is a great page to get accustomed to and look at some of the metrics here. Now, this is a page that I like to check out really frequently and to improve upon the strategy that you have. We discussed strategy a lot last week. And so say you have a strategy to post, okay, I want to post, I know that my pillars of my content are posting behind the scenes training for hockey, posting about why it's important to me to have more women in sport and more equal pay. And say I'm also into horseback riding, let's say, and that's another pillar of my content where my audience is mixed there. Then you can actually go into your content insights and see, okay, now based on those things, what posts are actually getting engaged with the most? And then, for example, say, okay, these posts I know are more for getting more comments. This post is something that's relatable and something that I want shared. Like say it's a quote that you think a lot of people would share in their story. You can also go to your content insights and actually see what kind of posts are people sharing the most? What type of posts are people saving the most? So the way that you go and see this is if you go under insights, and then again, you go under the overview section, you can click on content interactions. Now you can actually click also on the accounts reach, but let's click on content interactions. We'll scroll down and it shows you top posts. You can press the see all button. And then you're going to see all of these top posts, and you can actually rank it based on photos or videos, as well as carousel posts, so like those album posts. You can arrange it by those, and then you can go down and click. You'll see kind of a screenshot here on this slide with the metrics, and you can see the different types of posts, the different metrics that it's going to actually show you. And so you can go call button, comments, you can do likes, profile visits, reach, saves, shares, video views, all these different things. And then you can also set a time. Is it the last 7 days, last 6 months, last year, the last 2 years? And you can organize based on this. So you can say, okay, I want to know which ones of my posts are getting the most reach in the last 6 months. And then you can go and see and assess your content based on that, saying, okay, I want my post to reach more people. Let's see what is actually reaching people and why, and see all the top posts in that section, or see what got all the most comments or what drove all the most new followers. You can go and organize based on that. And so that's a really important function to get used to when you want to continuously be improving your content. You can use this to assess what people are engaging with on your page and how they are doing this. And you can also do this with your stories, which is fairly new. And I really like this function for seeing which stories are driving engagement and how. So now the common question is, when should I be posting? So in your insights, you can go under your followers, and you'll see a page where it'll show you all your demographics of your followers. At the very bottom, it should show you most active times. Now you can organize by day of the week or by actual time of the day. And here you should show, based on the time zone that you're in, what time of the day more people are active. As you can see here, 3 a.m. probably not the best time to be posting, but something like noon or 3 p.m. is much better. So you can look, and this is totally different for different people, and look under there. But also, more than this, is just think about things like what's going on in your audience lives. Is there a certain day that there's something else going on where maybe posting about something that's off topic for that, maybe it's a national holiday or something, wouldn't do as well? Do you know most of your followers are, say, based in New York City, and there's a specific citywide event and everyone's going to be out and at it? This is, let's say it's not coronavirus times, people are out and at this event and they're not on their phones. Maybe that's not a good time to post. So just think about what's going on in the world, the industry, your sport, and locally, depending on where your followers are, to kind of bring that knowledge into when you should be posting, as well as this actual data that Instagram gives you on when people are most active on average. All right, so now we're going to get into some of the growth strategies. So one thing that we've already kind of covered is posting valuable and engaging content consistently. So that's something we reviewed this week and went over a lot in last week, is that's like the foundation. You should be posting things that are valuable, trying to get more engagement on those posts, and you should be doing this consistently. Just being more strategic, thinking about, okay, what can I post for the purpose of growing my platform, building more depth and more engagement with my audience. That's number one. Then reviewing and checking in using the insights so that you can continuously improve upon this and actually know if that's achieving your objective. If you have a post and the objective of that post is to drive people to the link in your bio, you can go and check in your content insights and see how many people actually went and clicked the bio. So then that's going to help you improve by being able to get that feedback and see, okay, it didn't actually lead people to click the link in the bio. Let's check a post that did and see what I did differently between them so I can improve upon this. Also, ensuring your profile is optimized so that your bio, your photo, your story highlights, things like this, what you do, who you are, and using keywords that people can find you based on what they might be searching for when they're looking for what you do. Say it's, you play hockey at University of X, things like that, so that people can find you. That's another kind of foundational element when it comes to growth. Now we're going to get into some of the further growth strategies, such as hashtags, collaboration, engaging with others, so outreach, and learning and taking advantage of the new features that Instagram offers, such as Instagram Reels. So hashtags. And by the way, if you were here last week, what I did last week, there was a lot of slides that because it went into like making a strategy and content where I suggested you take out your phone and take a picture of the screen or just take a screenshot of the screen. If you want to do that for these slides, like hashtags, collaboration, all these things, totally do that. Or later on, like with last week's webinar, it will be on the Parity Now website, and in your dashboard, you can go under webinars and revisit it if you need to. So hashtags, you can use up to 30 hashtags. Now you can use them in your post itself, so right in the caption, or in the first comment. Now the one tip here is if you are using hashtags in your first comment, you want to be very quick on doing so that you can ensure that you're actually coming up quickly in the hashtags, because some hashtags are very, very popular. And so there's probably thousands of people every 5 minutes using that same hashtag. So if you're not quick on it, you're not going to actually come up very, very high in that hashtag. Now for finding hashtags, you can use your search and search in some topics that are related to the content that you post about, or yourself or your audience. Once you're there, you see some hashtags that you think you could use. So you say, okay, let's write this down. I think I could use these hashtags. It also will show you related hashtags. So there should be like a line and it has like related hashtags. Look under those and try looking at those and seeing what content's posted under there to see if those are ones that you can use as well. Also, find people who are similar to you, maybe your teammates, maybe other female athletes, other people in your niche or industry, and figure out what hashtags are they using and seem to be having success with, looking through and seeing, oh, these are new hashtags that I haven't used before and that could be relevant and could be ones that I could use. So you're going to find all these hashtags and list them all down. Afterwards, you're going to kind of categorize, okay, so what hashtags fit under who my audience is? Are my audience young female hockey players who are, looking for the older female hockey players to follow and be motivated by. What are they searching for typically when they're going into Instagram and looking for hashtags to follow or people to follow? Are they searching for female hockey player, for example? Also categorizing under who you are, what you post about, and the specific content. So these are other ways that you can find hashtags and write these things down. Now you want to use a mix of small, medium, and large hashtags. This is why if you just hashtag food, nature, adventure, these hashtags have millions and millions of uses. And so it's very, very unlikely that your account will come up near the top when anyone is looking for that hashtag, unless you are like an adventure photographer or a foodie or an outdoors person who already has millions of followers existingly, and your post is really going to be ranking high. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult to actually rank on these hashtags. However, if you do rank on these hashtags and come up at the top of those hashtag pages when someone searches it, that is going to be huge for getting and driving traffic to your account. So that's why I would say use a mix, because it doesn't hurt to try to still rank in some of those larger hashtags. So try smaller hashtags that maybe have 0 to 500,000 uses. And by the way, when you search hashtags, it'll come up, it'll have like a small letters, small sentence that says how many people have used that hashtag. And then medium hashtags, and then large. So just mixing it up so that you're using more community, small hashtags that you have a very high chance of ranking on, but less people are searching and using. And then medium ones, which have a healthy mix between maybe 500,000 and 1 million. And then these larger ones that are harder, more general, harder to rank on, but might as well try. Also, you can check banned hashtags by searching on Google. I was very surprised that actually, I think it was Hard Work Pays Off was a banned hashtag, something that I've used before. And if you use a banned hashtag, don't think that Instagram is going to like block you or shadow ban you or something because you used it, but it will not let any of your hashtags in that post actually rank or get your posts found by hashtags if you are using one banned hashtag. So just do the time to Google banned hashtags. There's a few different pages that update with what hashtags are banned, just to stay away from them. Most of them you're probably not using, but I was very surprised to see like Hard Work Pays Off was one that was banned recently, which is strange, but and also just vary your hashtags. Don't always use the same one. This is good for knowing what hashtags to use and testing out and seeing, okay, when I use this group of hashtags, it seemed to perform better and so on. But also, Instagram likes to see some variety, and not that it seems like everything is very robotic, like you're just copy pasting the same things all the time. And now my suggestion is once you go through finding these hashtags, categorizing, trying some, seeing how it feels, save some of these hashtags in your notes app on your phone. And then you can have different groups of hashtags based on different things that you post about. And this way you can copy and paste, change a few if you need to, and put it right into your post fairly quickly and not have to do the whole research process again for every single post. So another growth strategy is collaboration. And this includes like tagging others in your post. I mentioned last week, I think during the Q&A section, that I was speaking to someone who researches about athlete marketing, and their research showed that people who post photos with other teammates, those photos were receiving much more engagement than just a singular photo of themselves. So tagging others in your post, as well as collaborating with other teammates or other athletes and things like this is pretty important, as well as share the post of others. So say you have another female athlete, you really agree with something that she said in her caption, in her post, share in your story and tag that person. This is also going to encourage them to share more of your posts, as well as they could go and repost that story mention, which gets their followers to see your page as well. And give people a reason to share some of your posts. This is a great way to collaborate with other people and get your post out to the audiences of other people who are in similar niches to you, have similar audiences to you. So that can really help both of you grow your follower counts. Now, another thing is I put a screenshot right here, and this is actually Serena Williams' Instagram account here. And if you notice that it has like that little like drop down button that I clicked, and then it shows suggested for you. So these are people based on Serena Williams. If I was interested in following Serena Williams, these are the other people who it would suggest for me to follow as well. So one thing is you can try to grow your account by becoming someone who's going to be in the suggested for you of other people who are similar to you. So if you're a hockey athlete and someone follows a very popular hockey player, you would like to be in that suggested for you. So ways that you can actually do this is collaborating with those people, engaging with their content frequently, as well as posting similar content, similar hashtags, things like that. So most likely this is a way that you guys can all help each other, being all female athletes, or especially you have an advantage if you are a team athlete where you're posting a lot of content with your team, you're engaging a lot with your team, that when people actually follow the team account or follow someone else on your team, it's going to suggest the other teammates right there. So that's a great way to also grow and get your account seen by more people. And lastly, under the collaboration growth strategy is get creative. Reach out to, say, media accounts that post a lot of female athlete content and say, hey, I want to create some content that I know you're looking for content from female athletes. I want to create some content that's specific to you that will lead people back to my page as well as give you some content. So think about ways that you can get creative with collaborations. That doesn't have to be just your teammates if you have them, or other people in your industry. It could be media accounts, it could be repost accounts that can help you get more eyes on your page. So another way is through active outreach. So another way to grow your account, this is through commenting and engaging with others in your niche and your industry. So for example, commenting on other pro female athletes photos, and not something like nice or cool, like how can you add to the conversation of what they're posting so that when their followers are going, perhaps your comment is one of the most seen comments, especially with now people can pin comments. So if you're posting something that's really engaging, it's thoughtful, you're leaving value on someone else's post, maybe they'll pin it and then it can be seen by a lot more people. Now on like a media page, say like ESPNW, for example, if your comment gets pinned, it can reach, hundreds of thousands of people because they have a lot more followers there. So active outreach is a great way. Just building conversations in the comment sections of these larger pages or people similar to you is a great way of gaining followers and getting more eyeballs on your account, as well as sharing and tagging others in your content. Like I mentioned, say you're sharing content from different pages or accounts where you think that their audience is very similar to yours in your stories, and then they're reposting it in their stories. That's getting more eyeballs again on your account. So lastly, I'm going to go over the new feature of Instagram Reels. And this is because a growth strategy is using the new features that Instagram gives you. So Reels are short vertical videos with music. They have more reach than other types of videos. And this is because Instagram prioritizes their new features. So you really want to try to use them while they're hot and they have less competition. Right now, Instagram is really trying to push this. You can see that Reels, as I showed you earlier, have a big portion of the Explore page dedicated to it. And they actually have their own spot on your profile grid where people can see, right? They can see your normal posts, they can see your Reels, see your IGTV if you post those, and then your tagged posts. And so they're really dedicating a lot of attention to this because they want to gain market share over TikTok, similar to when they first started with stories. Stories were even more popular. People were getting more story views. And as you notice, story views continue to kind of decline as more people use them and they become more of a normal feature. They're not pushed as heavily. So right now, Instagram Reels is in that initial push where it's getting a lot of views, really pushing out there, and not everyone has adapted and started using it yet. So important to use some of these features while they are hot. So in sum, today we went over understanding the Instagram algorithm and how your content can begin to reach more people, how to use insights to optimize your content and strategy, get feedback on your content, learn from that, and assess how your strategy is doing, as well as the growth strategies that I discussed that you can start beginning to utilize, from hashtags, collaborations, using Instagram Reels. So what I want to do is I want to open it up to Q&A, and any questions that you have on anything that we went over during this webinar on growing your Instagram presence, now would be the time to ask them. And I'm going to stop the share here so that I can start seeing some of the questions in the chat. All right, let's see here. Okay. Cara, I left don't post and ghost last time. Yes, no posting and ghosting. Just seeing the questions coming in here. You don't have IG Reels feature in your country suggestion recommendations. Yeah, it is unfortunate. Sometimes they roll things out in specific countries, or certain countries just don't get features. Even for myself, actually, at the start of this, when Reels first came out, I would post to share the Reels on my page, but it actually would never actually save on my page, which was quite frustrating. There still are some glitches and they're still rolling it out. So if you don't have it in your country, it's unfortunate that you're not able to use it, but it shouldn't affect too much. I know if your follower base is really heavy in other countries where they are using it, that's more of a concern. I'm not sure if that's your situation. If you have more followers from the Trinidad, none of them have Reels anyways, no one in your country, so that's totally fine. And just keep utilizing things that they roll out. They always roll out new features like different polls and different questions that you can ask in stories. Those are a great way to build more engagement, connect with people, as well as now the pinning the comment. That's another new feature. That's a great way to get engagement and use some of those new features that Instagram is rolling out. Another question is, if we have an athlete page, do we have content insights? Yeah, so if you have a business or creator page, and under business or creator, that's where you can select athlete or select whatever title you want to put in there, then you will have content insights. And so that's why it's so important to have a business or creator page and not have a private or just a normal personal page, because the insights are very important to get feedback and be able to improve upon your posts. I heard that there are apps for finding hashtags. Do you know of any or would recommend? Yeah, let me just quickly check. So I personally don't use the apps for hashtags. I had one on my phone and I deleted it. If you search on Google, I apologize because I totally forgot, but if I remember, I'll try to message you for an app that I used to use. But if you search on Google and like free hashtag, say free hashtag generator or free hashtag ideas, you'll find a couple different places where you can put stuff in. But I think it's best to just do that upfront manual work right on Instagram. Hashtag expert is one. Thanks, Shannon. Yeah, you can use hashtag expert. That's recommended from someone else who was here. So try that one out. But I do think it is valuable to manually go in and actually see the people who are using it, versus some of those hashtag tools that you use. You kind of post it in, it gives you a list of ones and you're like, okay, cool, copy paste. But I think it's better to do that upfront research and then, go in and test it for yourself. Let's see here. Questions? If you have any other questions, can get into it here. How many times do you suggest posting in a day before you annoy your audience? So this is something I kind of went into a little bit last week. Find what works for you. I don't think there's a specific amount per se that's going to annoy your audience, other than you test and see if your audience likes to see more posts from you or not. Like for me personally, I find the sweet spot with stories is not really posting more than like 10 or so stories in a day. Otherwise, people tend to skip over. And I've had some friends with very large accounts who have done some polls on their account and said, how many stories do you typically would view from one user in a day, and how many stories would get you to skip over? And people said the sweet spot was usually around like 5 to 10 stories. But it's totally up to you and your audience. If you start using more stories and or more posts and you find it doing well for you, and you're not, say losing followers or losing a lot of engagement, the reach is staying similar, then totally go for it. If not, and you find maybe you can't be consistent with posting so often, or you find that it's turning them off, then just hold back. That's the cool thing about social media, is you can get that feedback pretty quickly just by testing it out and realizing, okay, I pushed the limits. People forget, and then you can go back to, maybe holding it back a little bit. Okay, so I'm just beginning to be more active on my Instagram, but I can imagine a time where growth would stall. What would you recommend for people who feel stuck at a certain amount of followers? Anything in particular, or stick to the plans you laid out? Yeah, so I've experienced this as well, especially being an athlete who has kind of gone from different sports and moved into different things. Definitely points where I feel it's normal to feel stuck. I think we all feel that too, even in our training. And I like to make the training analogy, like when you hit a plateau, just look at what you're doing, make another assessment. So go through, look at some of those content insights and see if, okay, where the posts that I'm thinking are trying to get more comments or trying to get more of this, is it working? Then go back to the growth strategies and say, okay, you know what? I was doing the commenting on other people's post strategy before. I kind of got tired of it, stopped doing it. And maybe that's why some of my growth has stalled. Maybe I can try doing that more. Maybe there's a unique collaboration that I can do, get a media page to repost one of my videos or my posts or things like this that could get things going again. So I think there's so many different strategies that I laid out that it's going to be unlikely that you're going to be kind of optimizing every single one. So I think just going back to the basics, thinking through your strategy, assessing it versus your insights, and then going to those growth strategies and thinking, okay, which one did I maybe stop doing? Which one can I try? Going through those things. But it is pretty normal. I know at the start of this quarantine, a lot of people were online and everyone, people who were getting more frequent on posting saw a bigger growth. And then it started to slow down a little bit. There's always these ebbs and flows, but just really sticking to the basics and being consistent with it. Over the long term, you're going to see the growth. That was a great question. Oh, I got another question here. How many posts do you plan out at a time? Do you usually have 5 to 10 in mind that you have planned out in the future? Yeah, so you can go both ways. So it really depends on your personality and how you want to approach social media and what time you have in your day. If you're someone who knows, okay, I need to be more active, but I'm not someone who usually spends a lot of time at all on social media, then perhaps, okay, let me get from the team photographer these photos, get this, and know about the topics I want to post. And let me just like sit down for an hour, couple hours, and plan out what's my next 5 to 10 posts. You can totally do that. Use an Excel spreadsheet or something like that to get those ideas and write those things down. If you're someone who wants to be more reactive in the moment, say a new trend is coming on, there's a new like national day or something that you want to talk about, and be posting more in the moment of what's going on in your life or what's going on in the world, then I would say maybe have some things that are in the backup plan or in like your notes app or in Excel as like ideas for later. Maybe photos just saved to a certain album on your phone that you can use later, but then just adapt in the fly of like what is going on. So that's for someone who's maybe spending more time actually on social media. So I would say that there's no good or bad strategy when it comes to that. It really depends on the time that you have and what you're able to do. I would say that if you do have the time, I think it's better to perhaps be more relatable and relevant with what's going on. So if there's something really specific that you're like, okay, I finished this workout today, this is fresh in my mind, I want to post or talk about this, I think that's perhaps a better strategy if you have the time. But like I said, consistency is everything. So if you need to just pre-plan all those things out, then do that as well. Awesome. Again, great questions. I really appreciate everyone with the feedback and the questions. Consistently, it's been awesome. So I really enjoyed doing these and seeing the feedback and the questions that we've been getting.